You might be able to, I just get
secrecy provisions of the law, copies of which have been sent to the people in advance, and copies are available around the room. So nobody should be filming the ballot papers as they're coming out. Anyone who's seen taking photos or videos of the count process who have not previously sought permission to do so will be approached and either asked to stop doing it or will be asked to leave. Our social media policy has been distributed to all in attendance in advance. Please avoid using mobile phones or electronic devices in the count room. There's adequate space in the cafe area or outside to take phone calls. Shouldn't have to say this, and I'm sure it's not going to be relevant today, but any disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated within this count hall, and people will be asked to leave. And when I say asked to leave, they'll be forced to go. And finally, whilst the counters are working, please do not attempt to place anything on the counting tables. We'd appreciate a level of calm and quiet around the counters to help them concentrate. Try to keep a certain level of distance from the counters, as crowding them can be intimidating. Equally, it's important that candidates and agents can observe the count and that the counters are allowed to do their jobs professionally. So, hopefully our time is just right, so it should be just past 10 p.m. The polling stations within the constituency have now been closed. All the votes have been cast, and now the verification can commence. Thank you, everyone.
So we're just going to put them in the middle and just put them out. So this is postal box number 7. Okay? Just give us a hand, make sure they're
People who will wave as I say their names, it says here. So Ben Natras. There we go, worth the wait. Sandra Huller, behind the screen, thank you Sandra. Stuart Carlton, there we go, thank you. And then we've also got Vanessa as well with regards to any press queries. So these will be my fellow deputy returning officers or senior officers who will assist in ensuring that the count today runs smoothly as it can do and answer any questions. This is obviously an exciting evening with much political and media interest. As you can see, there's a high level of media attendance this evening. The media are asked to respect the proceedings taking place, as we need to follow the legal process of conducting the count. Similarly, candidates, their agents and guests are expected to respect the media, as their presence helps to tell the story of this election and voters can see the democratic process in counting the votes. However, for the next few hours, the most important people in this room are the counters. We need to make sure that they're respected, they've got space to be able to do their roles, and they're not pressurised into making any mistakes. So I'm going to now outline the key steps for tonight's proceedings. So it's a two-stage process. The first stage is verification, and that's basically the stage where we work out the voter turnout. So we'll determine how many votes are in this room. So we'll verify the number of ballot papers commencing at 10 p.m. You will see we have divided the main count into 8 teams with a set allocation of ballot boxes for each team. A list of those allocations have been provided around the room and are on the table there. We've got 119 ballot boxes and we have over 80 polling venues. So that all those ballot boxes will become distributed into those tables and those teams and when the supervisors open up those ballot boxes, they will announce where those ballot boxes are from. We'll start by verifying the postal votes, which have been received by post. These have already had their anti-fraud checks conducted on them as required. Postal votes that have been received at polling stations today will have their anti-fraud checks conducted after they are received back from the polling stations, prior to them being included in the verification. Ballot boxes will start to arrive from the polling stations shortly after 10 p.m. When each of the 8 teams have completed the verification stage, they will move on to the counting of votes within that team. We'll announce when this happens for each team so that you're aware of what stage each team is at. When we have reached a total verification figure and turnout for the whole constituency, we'll then announce those figures. So that's the verification stage. Stage 2 is then the counting of votes. Due to the fact that this constituency has, I believe, the most candidates in the United Kingdom, therefore has the longest ballot paper in the country, the count will be conducted in 2 stages within each team. Firstly, there'll be the splitting of the ballot papers into 2 piles, one for the first 7 candidates of the ballot paper and one for the remaining 6 candidates on the ballot paper. Once that initial sortation is done, the teams will then work further to count the votes for the individual candidates. Any doubtful papers will be placed in trays, ready for adjudication by myself or by one of my appointed deputies. We will announce when this is to take place to allow each candidate and their agent to observe the process, and we'll be doing that at the back of this room. Once we have a provisional result, once we've done all the count, we will share that with the relevant candidates and their election agents. We'll announce when we're ready to do that. And then hopefully, if that's agreed, soon after we'll be in a position to formally declare the results. Further information about this evening proceedings have been provided to you in the count guide sent in advance to all those attending.
That's exactly why they don't let you hand in those. I voted for waiving union and you can go off the postal vote.
Grey dots. Okay. If you'd like to move one you've got dots at with. Okay. I am now going to declare the result of the Clacton constituency Member of Parliament. I, Ian Davidson, being the acting returning officer at the election for a Member of Parliament for the Clacton constituency on Thursday, the 4th of July, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Bensilem Matthew, Liberal Democrats, 2016. Farage Nigel Paul, Reform UK, 21,225. Jameson Craig, Climate Party, 48. Mac Tony, Independent, 317. Osborne Natasha, Green Party, 1,935. Owusa Nepal Jovan, Labour Party, 7,448. Pat Anastu Tassos, Heritage Party, 33. Pemberton Andrew, UKIP No to Illegal Immigration, 116. Watling Giles Francis, the Conservative Party candidate, 12,820. The number of ballot papers rejected was 111. I therefore do hereby declare that Nigel Paul Farage is duly elected as the Member of Parliament for the Clacton constituency. Congratulations. And the turnout was 59.23%. Would you like to?
Splendid. Thank you very much. Well, Mr. Returning Officer, all here at tendering, and I have to say, fellow candidates, it's been a well-run, well-fought and remarkably clean election battle. I think we'd all agree on that, and thank you for your services. I promise that I will do my absolute best as a Member of Parliament. I had 20 years as an MEP, but it's not quite the same link or same responsibility with constituents. I will do my absolute best to put Clacton on the map. I'll do my best to bring more tourists. I'll do my best to try and bring some private investment. It's over 30 years ago that I fought my first parliamentary by-election. I've fought lots of them over the years, and I've had big successes in European elections and perhaps less so under first past the post, which is a very demanding, very, very demanding problem. 6 and 3 days since I decided to come out of retirement and throw my hat in the ring. I think what Reform UK has achieved in those just few short weeks is truly extraordinary. Given that we had no money, no branch structure, virtually nothing across the country, we are going to come second in hundreds of constituencies. How many seats we're going to win, I don't know. But to have done this in such a short space of time says something very fundamental is happening. It's not just disappointment with the Conservative Party. There is a massive gap on the centre-right of British politics, and my job is to fill it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But it's not just what we do in Parliament as a national party that matters, it's what we do out round the country. Getting 5,000 people in that room in Birmingham last week, the energy, the optimism, the enthusiasm, the belief that Westminster is just completely out of touch with ordinary people says to me that my plan is to build a mass national movement over the course of the next few years and hopefully be big enough to challenge the general election properly in 2029. What is interesting is there's no enthusiasm for Labour, there's no enthusiasm for Starmer whatsoever. In fact, about half of the vote is simply an anti-Conservative vote. This Labour government will be in trouble very, very quickly. We will now be targeting Labour votes. We're coming for Labour, be in no doubt about that. I want to thank the team that have helped me do this over the last few weeks, my fellow candidates for behaving as impeccably as they have. Believe me, folks, this is just the first step of something that is going to stun all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Lovely. Well done. Great stuff.